What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and today I want to talk to you about when GoFundMe goes wrong. Now, the first thing that I got to say is this is in no way in relation to the GoFundMe campaign that we just put together for Danny. I know it probably sounded exactly like that's what this was going to relate to. It doesn't. However, I am going to be telling you guys an absolutely crazy story and also answering probably the biggest question in regards to the campaign that we set up for Danny. Now, the first thing that I want to say is it was absolutely amazing what After Prison Show was able to do as a whole. And when I say a whole, I'm talking about because of all of you out there. All of you who did contribute to this campaign, which helped us raise over $5,000 in less than 24 hours for Danny, which I can guarantee you is absolutely going to change this man's life. However, there were some people who were pretty mad at me because maybe they didn't know about the campaign, they didn't see it, and they were also questioning why I stopped accepting donations for this thing. And to be completely honest with you, and the reason why I did stop accepting the donations is because I didn't want this thing to come off as being greedy or overreaching or overzealous or anything like that. Again, we raised over $5,000 in less than 24 hours. This is more than enough money to help Danny get established, get adjusted, and to even help him become stable out here. There were some people who were messaging me saying, Joe, raise the bar, raise it up to 10,000. And again, I felt like if I did that, that would be greedy. But even with mentioning these things that I have thus far, maybe I did jump the gun a little bit. Because again, there were people who said they had no idea about the GoFundMe campaign. We launched this campaign on Friday. That was the day that we debuted the video with Danny from 26 years ago. While the Goon Squad was performing the cell extraction on him, that was the day that we launched the campaign. And I would then turn off the donations on I think Saturday evening. Saturday evening, I thought to myself, this thing has done more than enough. We don't need to collect any more money. But there were some people who said that they had no idea about the campaign. They only learned about the campaign on Sunday when we uploaded the video called Danny Got a Job, which is absolutely another incredible and amazing accomplishment right there. It was through a good friend of mine, Sean, who also has his own construction company, who gave Danny an opportunity to work. And since last Saturday, when Danny first began working for this guy, he's been working every single day. But it would be in that video, Danny Got a Job, where people were just starting to hear about the GoFundMe campaign. So maybe, again, I probably did jump the gun. I should have at least left the donations on until after that video. That way, anybody else who wanted to donate to this campaign could have done so. But I just can't emphasize enough. I feel like we definitely raised enough money. What we intend to do with this money is, one, help Danny get an apartment, pay a couple of months ahead in rent. That way, while working, he can save his money and start to really establish himself out here. And also, we want to help Danny get some transportation, mainly a moped. That way he's able to get back and forth to probation, any meetings that he may have, and also back and forth to work. So though you may not be happy with the fact that I stopped accepting the donations and you weren't able to donate to the campaign, I do hope that you will appreciate the fact that we weren't trying to be overzealous or overreaching with what we wanted to accomplish. And I truly feel like we accomplished way more than we ever set out to accomplish in the first place. And for those of you who may not know, we've definitely had an issue with a crowdfunding campaign in the past where we raised $1,500 for an individual who ended up using that money to do drugs. And I would end up coming out of my pocket to refund everyone who contributed to that campaign, because there was no way I was gonna let them have contributed to a campaign where a guy just ended up using the money for all the wrong things. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no worries about Danny. We've been with Danny every day for 3+ weeks now. We know what this dude's doing, and one thing I can guarantee you he's not doing is getting high. This guy wants to succeed, and he's doing everything in his power to do so now, especially now that he's working. But I bring up this other failure of a campaign that we had in the past because you got to understand where I'm coming from. I was definitely on the fence when it came to whether or not to even start this campaign for Danny in the first place, basing everything on what we had gone through prior. Ironically, there is a very, very crazy story that I want to share with all of you right now, which absolutely symbolizes when GoFundMe goes wrong. And it has nothing to do with the organization, the website at all. I've got a lot of respect for this website. This website raises money and allows people to source money together for all sorts of really positive and helpful campaigns. it probably goes without saying that some of the people who set up campaigns are probably in this for all the wrong reasons. Or maybe they won't even start out being in this for all the wrong reasons. It won't be until the money gets raised and they start to see some sort of substantial amount of money that money can start bringing out the worst in people. And again, ironically, what I'm getting ready to share with you just happened like a few days ago. In fact, I think this thing like kind of correlated. Is that the right word? This campaign was taking place right around the same time that the campaign we set up for Danny was taking place. So that's just absolutely crazy to me. Cody just brought this to my attention. I just read a whole bunch about this story. I just watched a couple of videos on it. And if you guys have not heard about this, which I'm pretty sure there's a good chance that you have, again, this is absolutely crazy. But there was another campaign that was set up for another homeless guy, except this story took place in Philadelphia. Ours took place here in Virginia. Ours involved Danny. This story involved a guy by the name of Johnny Bobbitt. And I know this is going to be wrong on so many levels, and I don't care, but I got to throw this out there. Bobbitt. Why does that last name sound so familiar? Wasn't there a guy who got his thing cut off last name Bobbitt? Oh, your name's Bobbitt? Hey, you that dude that got that? Oh, you're not? That's the only way I know that name. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. Hell, if it was that guy, you know, they would never want to admit that. There ain't nobody come out. What you talking about? But there was this homeless guy by the name of Johnny Bobbitt, and forgive me for cracking jokes. It's not, directed at this guy at all, because this guy has definitely already been going through a hell of a lot. But this guy, Johnny Bobbitt from Philadelphia, I guess helped some woman a few months prior or something like that. The girl was driving in her car. She broke down, ran out of gas. How you gonna run out of gas? You got a gas meter right there in your car. You know when you need gas. You got a GPS. Hey Siri, where's the closest gas station at?
Okay, here's what I found.
Oh, we got a Wawa. It's only 2.8 miles away. You can't run out of gas these days. You can't. Because you got a gas gauge in your car. They've had those forever. And you got Siri or Google. But this woman ran out of gas, and she ran out of gas in some rough part of town, and then all of a sudden here comes old Johnny Bobbitt. Johnny is this homeless guy, and I think he's also a veteran as well. Salute to this man's service. But Johnny would walk up on this woman's car and tell her to get back inside of your car, lock your doors, you're in a rough part of town. I'm sure she was scared to death, ready to call 911 immediately. Okay, Siri, I ain't gonna do it because I don't want the police swatting my house right now. Johnny told the woman, get back in your car, lock the doors, stay right here, I'll be right back. I wonder what she was thinking during this time. She was probably already starting to formulate the idea, GoFundMe. GoFundMe. We gonna GoFundMe Johnny Bobbitt. Johnny came back a little while later, spending the last $10 or $20 that he had with a gas can full of gas. He done bought the woman gas for her car. Filled her car up. She took off. Next day, her and her boyfriend went back out there, gave Johnny Bobbitt $100. Johnny said he was absolutely thrilled, blown away. Said that he helps people like this all of the time. Said this isn't the first time he's helped a stranded driver. My God, how many people running out of gas in Philadelphia? They must not have no gas stations out there. Oh, and by the way, the woman, her name is Kate. She ran out of gas. It was back in October of 2017. So I'm guessing like throughout the time since he filled up her car and her and her boyfriend would go back the next day giving the guy $100. She said, because I watched this on like a Good Morning America interview featuring her and old Johnny Bobbitt, she said that they would go out there and visit with Johnny about 2 or 3 times a week. And throughout the course of dealing with this guy, seeing that he was sleeping under an underpass, I mean, this dude was homeless, they came up with an idea to set a GoFundMe up for this guy with hopes of raising $10,000. What they wanted to do, sort of similar to what we're trying to do with Danny. They wanted to get him a place to stay, pay a little bit ahead. And let me be the first to say we did not get our ideas for what we're doing with Danny from this right here. I'm just telling you. It's just ironic this happened at the same time. But they said they wanted to use this $10,000 to get Johnny a place, pay it up a little bit, and also get this guy a vehicle. But $10,000 they would not raise, and instead their campaign would go viral and raise 400 stacks. 400,000. 400 bands. 400 of them. There were 14,000 people who donated to this GoFundMe campaign. And, I did the math. 400,000 divided by 14,000, that's like $28 to $30 a piece. So of those 14,000, everyone who donated at least $28 to $30 because that's what it takes to reach 400 grando. And Kate and Johnny, they was doing all sorts of interviews together. Good Morning America. They was on like CNN. Johnny was sitting there with some glasses on looking like he was a rock star. This man's life had absolutely been changed. You done took a homeless man, started a GoFundMe campaign for him, only hoping to raise $10,000. Yet in turn, you done raised 400 grand, almost $500,000. And I don't know what happened. Because you see, the story says that the homeless man is still waiting to receive $200,000 raised on GoFundMe after viral act of charity. Now it says he's still waiting to receive $200,000. I've seen other stories that say he's only gotten like 25 grand. These people raised this money, and somewhere between 10 grand and that 400,000 that they raised, everything changed. Everything changed. Because old Johnny Bobbitt, he ain't get that money. And there are actually accusations saying that these two people, this girl Kate and her boyfriend Mark, done took this money, spent it on vacations, gambling, a Winnebago, some sort of a camper, an RV, bought a new car, a BMW. How you doing all that? How you doing all that? You wouldn't be doing that with Johnny Money, would you? Because if you are, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. You done set this GoFundMe campaign up because this man was gracious enough, kind enough, humble enough as a homeless dude to help you out when you broke down because you couldn't find that Walmart that's 2.8 miles away. You didn't ask Siri or OK Google. You just broke down in the worst part of Philadelphia, and here comes Johnny the hero spending his last $10 to $20 to get you gas with his gas can. And you done took this man's money. You done raised 400 grand for him. And you done took that. You probably was like, you know what, Johnny don't deserve this. We need a camper. We need to go to Vegas. We need to do some gambling. And we're going to go buy us a new BMW. At the time of filming this video right now, Kate and her boyfriend are meeting with Johnny's lawyer. Because Johnny got him some lawyers. They're going to get that money. Don't think ain't no lawyer not going to represent Johnny. They know what kind of money he entitled to right now. They're going to represent him pro bono. Johnny, we got you, man. We're going to get this money for you. You take care of us off the back end. That's that lawyer lingo right there. Now, real quick, I want to throw this in here as well because, again, we just did our Danny GoFundMe and we raised $5,000. I cut donations off. I was like, that's it. That's enough. You know, when they got to 10,000, they ain't cut them donations. I want to know what increments this money came in. I want to know, like, when they got to 10,000, what did it go to next? 50? 100,000? You know, I'm not saying it would have happened, but there is a potential had I not cut the donations off. What if our campaign would have gone viral? It probably wouldn't because Mark and Kate done messed it up. Mark and Kate done messed this up, buying that Winnebago, going to Vegas, taking vacations. They done messed it up for Danny. But you know what? We wasn't looking for that. We wasn't looking to go viral. We could have. We might have. Maybe I'm wrong for not allowing that to happen. And there's some other things to throw into the story as well. Johnny Bobbitt is also an active drug user, or I'm pretty sure he is. I think the story says that, you know, he's doing some drugs. And Mark and Kate, it almost sounds like the royal couple. Ain't that their names? Mark and Kate's argument as to why they didn't give him this money is because he was an active drug user. And the game plan was, get off the drugs, get you a job, and by the time we come back from Vegas with our new trailer and our BMW, after we done blew half of that money, we're going to take care of you. But you got to get off the drugs first, man. You got to get off the drugs before we give you any of this money. We'll be in Vegas. Call us. That was their defense that the guy was using. I just got to say this. I mentioned this a little bit ago. That like Kate and Johnny Bobbitt, the homeless man who this money was raised for. I watched the video prior to filming this where they were doing this interview on like Good Morning America or something like that. And it was Kate and Johnny. Johnny was wearing his glasses saying that he had an eye infection, but who knows? Maybe he had an eye infection. Maybe he was high. Kate now, she's sitting here and I can see it in her face. I can see it because I've read the article and I know what's going on with this. But when they're doing this interview, they had raised $360,000 at this point. They would go on to raise another 40 grand. Yeah, 360 plus 40, that's 400. Yeah, they would go on to raise another 40,000 after the interview. But already at that 360,000, her whole persona did a 360 as well. Actually, that's wrong because that would have been like a full circle and she would have been right back where she started. Her whole persona did a 180. When they raised 360, she did a 180. I could see it on her face. She's sitting there like, yeah, we did. We're such good people. I could see it. It was written all over her face. She was ready to take that money right then. She probably was already on Trivago. She was on Trivago doing the interview. Where's a good flight? I need first class to Vegas. Johnny, you a dope head anyway. You ain't getting this money. Oh, nah. Everything changed somewhere between 10,000 and $500,000. And you know, it's crazy to think about that, how money will most certainly change some folks. And you know, again, I want to say this. I hold nothing against GoFundMe. I really respect this website. I've used it many times myself in the past. I've only had one bad incident with it. What we did with Danny was absolutely amazing. Thanks to all of you again. But it's just a crazy, ironic situation to know that while we're doing something so good right here And the good that we're going to do, which is definitely getting Danny an apartment, definitely paying a couple of months' rent, definitely getting him a moped. There were some folks who probably started their GoFundMe campaign for another homeless guy with good intentions as well at first. But then all of a sudden, when that thing skyrocketed and went viral, everything changes. Like a Stain song. You ever heard that song by Stain, Everything Changes? One of my favorites. GoFundMe is actually investigating this right now, and you know one thing about it. If it is found out that these people done took that money and spent that money, they're going to find out about it, and you're going to jail. You're going to jail. The Fed's coming to get you. You can catch you a federal case. So you started out as a good Samaritan. Actually, you started out as somebody who should have known where a gas station was. And then you turned into a good Samaritan, and now you about to turn into a felon. You ain't going to be able to vote like me. Not everybody deserves to be no good Samaritan. You got to really watch that, because not everybody's built for that. They're not. I feel bad for Johnny Bobbitt. Thinking about setting up a GoFundMe for him myself. Actually, it's probably not a good idea. I wonder how many other GoFundMes have been started since this story broke. I probably shouldn't be joking about this. And I'm not. I'm asking because I am curious. And I do wonder. And I'm sure, oh boy, everybody done jumped on this. Everybody gonna be a good Samaritan now. We got a GoFundMe for Mr. Bobbitt. They cut his thing. Wait, wrong Bobbitt. He was a veteran, he's living under a bridge, and he helped a woman, and they done took advantage of him. And guess what? He got him some lawyers involved in this situation, and best believe, old Mr. Bobbitt, he gonna be taken care of in the end. And old Mark and Kate, that royal couple, actually I shouldn't be saying that neither, scratch that. Old Mark and Kate, you better get you some pen pals. You better stock up for some commissary. You better hope you got a little bit of that 400 grand left over for some zoom zooms and wham whams, because you're gonna need it where you're going. Don't go into things with the wrong intentions. Moral of the story. And don't get involved in something that you ain't really built for. If you ain't no real good Samaritan, don't do nothing. And you know, I want to address some situations. I'm just gonna throw some stuff out there. A little TMI, a little too much information, or maybe I don't know. I want to address these things. You know, we raised $5,800, $5,800, I think is what it is, for Danny in about 24 hours, maybe a little bit more. Stop the donations. We got enough. GoFundMe took its cut. They're sending $5,388.81. And of that money, Dave's getting, and Cody's getting, and I'm getting none. None. Because we didn't raise this money for us. We raised this money to try to help Danny. And you know what? Enough is enough. Too much is too much. Or greedy. And we didn't go into this trying to go viral with this campaign, and I don't even know what that would have been like had that happened. It would have been crazy. But we accomplished what we set out to do. We're going to live up, own up, and be absolutely transparent with everything that we do with the donations raised and the proceeds from this. There's also going to be a very special thank you to all of the donors who donated to this campaign and all of what we accomplished here at After Prison Show because of all of you. When I say what we accomplished, I include you guys in that bubble. You guys are a major part of that bubble. But everything that we accomplished here really goes to show you the strength of the APS Army. I cannot emphasize that enough. We may be slept on. We may be underrated. We may be the most overlooked thing on YouTube, if you ask me personally. But one thing about it, we're powerful. And we got a hell of a community. And you know, as I'm trying to wrap this up on this really positive, good note and good piece, you know, I am thinking that Mark and Kate, they might want to set them up a GoFundMe as well, because they're going to definitely need them some lawyers. Ain't nobody going to be trying to represent them. Oh, you done took $400,000 from a homeless man? You is going to hell. You need to go get involved in the church. You won't need to be in my lawyer's office right now. You need to go into that confessional, because you got some repenting to do. How you do that? You scum of the earth as far as the national news is concerned. And as far as I'm concerned as well, and I'm sure quite a few of you out there are concerned with as well. We did a good thing. They did not. And they are the absolute epitome and example and epitome, if I didn't say that already. They are the absolute epitome of when GoFundMe goes wrong. But in our case, it did not. Just need to clarify and distinguish between the two. And as I wrap this up, I do want to say just thank you to all of you. Whether you donated, whether you wanted to donate it, whether you didn't want to donate, whether you couldn't, whether you should have, whether you would have, no matter what. Thank you to all of you. If you rock with After Prison Show, I ain't got nothing but the utmost respect for you. And again, to all of you who donated, you are helping to transform this man's life. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.